All right, man. Good day to you, my beautiful people. Thanks so much for joining us here this afternoon. Starting a new session of the New Black Wall Street Book Club, NBWS. And this is going to be our midday mental break. And so my goal here is to, number one, just share with you books that have helped me to transition and to change, to go from an employee to an entrepreneur. And then number two, to share with you a strategy or a technique that I used to do it when I was in corporate America, and I wanted out bad, bad enough. I simply decided to use my lunch break to first eat a little bit, but then I used to take walks and read books. And so I'm going to share with you some of the books that I read to help me change the way that I think, and therefore allow for me to change my life. Another thing, way we can say that I started to take control of my thoughts, and I took control of my life. And so today we'll be starting. I was going to start next week, but I also believe in a philosophy that says don't wait. Why wait, right? Get started. And hopefully you pick that up as well. I call it the spirit of immediately. When you have an idea, something that you want to do, some service that you want to provide, get started as quickly as possible. So I'm not waiting until next week. I really want to get into this book called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And if you know anything about alchemy, it's all about the process, or the process of turning lead into gold. And really, what I really gathered from this book is that you and we are lead in the inside. We can turn what we have on the inside into gold, into something of value, into something that other people are willing to pay for, into a use for other services and products as well. And so that's what we're going to be doing here. While you guys are connecting, man, let us know exactly where you're connecting from, what city, what state. We are here broadcasting from ERGJ Studios here in Atlanta, Georgia, Decatur, Georgia, Decatur where it's greater. We're just going to be doing a quick intro into this book. We'll be picking up into chapter 1 tomorrow. But today we'll be going over the author, the prologue, and get you set and ready. So in case you have not heard of this book, this is a book that's been recommended by Will Smith, Oprah Winfrey. It's that kind of book. So this is the book we'll be going through first here on Midday Mental Break. Hey, I don't know about you. I know you don't have a lot of time to spend with me, so we'll get right into it. You know what time it is, man. Mr. DJ, hit the music.
New Black Wall Street Book Club. Evan Jefferson, brother, much love. Educating, elevating, because in knowledge is the power and we'll never give it up. Literature's for the masses. Where to put your money down, now how to watch your assets. Yeah, uplifting others is a passion. My brother Evan, he will turn it into action. New Black Wall Street Book Club. You should come read with us. Yeah, we comprehend and discuss. If we all just come together, there's no limit for us. Here comes your host, New Black Wall Street. Evan, take it away. New Black Wall Street Book Club.
Landscape Lowry back with us, man. Hey, good afternoon to you. Thanks so much for joining again. It's New Black Wall Street Book Club. I'm your host, ERGJ, CEO of ERGJ Enterprise, ERGJ Black Bazaar, certified financial educator, your confidence coach as well. We're going to be going into the book, The Alchemist, really how to turn lead into gold. A book, again, that's been recommended by Oprah Winfrey, Will Smith. This is a book that I use to help me transition from employee to entrepreneur. And so, you got it in your bookstore? Oh, I don't have. So I'm sorry. So hello to your Instagram Live, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live. Landscape over at Instagram Live. So I got the book in my bookstore. I do not. And so what I'm doing right now, for those, I'm transitioning out of the bookstore business. But what I'm doing right now is I'm connecting with Black bookstores, so that as I introduce books, we'll have a code of some sort to get you a discount for you to actually purchase those books through those stores. And so I'm working with about 3 different bookstores for different purposes. One will be for the adult books, so they'll be book like this. And then I have a children's bookstore that I'm working with as well. And so I'll introduce things to you guys, and I told them, I said to them, I said, well, any discount or anything, I don't really want a kickback. I just want you to pass that savings along to the people that buy books. I just want to see, with statistics, how many people we're able to push over to actually do business with you. I truly believe in group economics, and this is a way to do it. No competition, but collaboration. But if they can't get this book, I will look to see if I can get it for you guys. The Alchemist is what we've been going through. The Alchemist by Mr. Paulo Coelho. The Alchemist by Mr. Paulo Coelho. Today's episode is brought to you by ERGJ Black Bazaar. And we do still have some books. So I do want to share with you something that you can book up in our bookstore by going to www.ergjblackbazaar. I want to make sure that you're aware we do have the Black History activity books. This is for children. I would say probably ages 6 and up. So this book is, Uncle Marcus. So obviously Marcus Garvey. And inside of that book, they have activities that they can participate in. They can color, draw, connect the dots, and then learn about Marcus Garvey. And so we've got Marcus Garvey, Muhammad Ali. I'll share those books and as we move forward. But if you want to pick, I think it's only $10, by the way. You can pick you up some Black History activity books as we move, obviously, into February. But we don't celebrate Black History Month. We celebrate Black History Year. So you can do that for them at any point in time here as well. So again, www.ergjblackbazaar.com. You can pick up your Black History activity books. If you are a business and you want promotion through my platform, make sure you inbox us and let us know what it is that you do. And we'll reach out to you and discuss what that looks like. Really nominal fee, but gives you access to our 20,000 some odd followers that we have. And then also, last thing, before we get into our midday mental break, everybody put in the comments, so midday mental break. I like that. Midday mental break. If you are an author, obviously we're reading books. You may have a quality book that you just don't have the exposure for, and you like to have a review. And then I can let you know whether that fits what we do and whether we want to bring that into our rotation and then give you more publicity, help you sell more of your stuff. I'm just good at promotions. And what I want to tell you guys today is if you want to make more money this year than you made last year, you just do what you do best, but do it better. And let me say that again. If you want to make more money this year than you made last year, do what you do best, but do it better. Find ways that you can do what you do best better. All right. So we're going to be getting into The Alchemist, Turning Lead into Gold by Mr. Paulo Coelho. This is just going to be, again, about the author, the prologue, and prepare us to journey into this book. Again, what I'm doing is I'm sharing with you books that help change my life, books that help me go from employee to entrepreneur, books that allowed me to take control, that helped me to take control of my thinking so I can take control of my life. And so hopefully it'll help you as well. Now, first, let's talk about the author, Paulo Coelho. Let's find out a little bit about him, his background. Let's see here about the author. That's going to be in the back of the book. Again, The Alchemist. All right. Paulo Coelho was born in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. His own life has, in many ways, been as varied and unusual as the protagonist of his internationally acclaimed novels. Like them, Paulo Coelho has followed a dream in quest for fulfillment, his own dream, to be a writer, met with frustration throughout much of his early adult life, a time in which he worked at various professions, some of them materially rewarding but spiritually unfulfilling. I always knew, he says, that my personal legend, to use a term from alchemy, was to write. He was 38 when he published his first book. In 1970, after deciding that law school was not for him, he traveled through much of South America, North Africa, Mexico, and Europe, returning to Brazil after 2 years. He began a successful career as a popular songwriter. In 1974, he was imprisoned for a short time by the military dictatorship then ruling in Brazil. In 1980, he experienced one of the defining moments of his life. He walked the 500-plus mile road of Santiago de Compostela in northwestern Spain. On this ancient highway, 500 plus, he walked, wow, walked 500 plus miles on this ancient highway used for the centuries by pilgrims from France to get to the cathedral, said to house the remains of St. James. He achieved the self-awareness and the spiritual awakening that he later described in the pilgrimage. How many guys have had a spiritual awakening, taken a long journey? That happened for me when I went to a school. I consider that period to be my spiritual awakening, going through school. Paulo Coelho once said that following your dream is like learning a foreign language. Uh-oh. Following your dream is like learning a foreign language. You will make mistakes, but you will get there in the end. In 1988, he published The Alchemist, a novel that explores this theme, and it launched him into an international best-selling author. Specifically, Paulo Coelho is recognized for his powerful storytelling technique and the profound spiritual insights he blends seamlessly into his parables. His books have sold over 150 million copies worldwide, a winner of numerous literary prizes. He has been a member of the Brazilian Academy of Letters since 2002. Paulo Coelho is also a prominent speaker for humanitarian causes. In 2007, he was named the United Nations Messenger of Peace. Paulo Coelho, the author of this book, again, the book that we'll be picking up as we go through our midday mental break, The Alchemist. Everybody put in comments, The Alchemist. What's going on, Mr. Kennedy? Shay Terrell, hey, how you doing, Queen? How are you? Now let's look at some things here for The Alchemist. So first it says, international acclaim for Paulo Coelho, Alchemist. Publishers Weekly said that this book, the story has the comic charm, dramatic tension, and psychological intensity of a fairy tale, but it's full of specific wisdom as well, a sweetly exotic tale for young and old alike. The booklet said that this book is beneath this novel's compelling story and the shimmering elegance with which it's told lies a bedrock of wisdom about following one's heart. How many of you guys are following your heart? Austin American Statesman says it's as memorable, this book is as memorable and meaningful as Saint Exupéry's The Little Prince. Indianapolis Star said it's a touching and inspiring fable. Detroit Free Press said a little poke in the ribs from on high. And Dr. Der Spiegel from Germany said The Alchemist is a fabulous success. And Anthony Robbins, who wrote the book Awaken the Giant Within, said a remarkable tale about the most magical of all journeys, the quest to fulfill one's destiny. I recommend The Alchemist to anyone who is passionately committed to claiming the life of their dreams today. Spencer Johnson from Who Moved My Cheese said that The Alchemist is an entrepreneurial tale of universal wisdom we can apply to the business of our own lives. Rudolph Anaya, author of Bless Me Ultima, said, and it's an adventure story full of magic and wisdom. Madonna, in Saint-Ouen, Germany, said, The Alchemist is a beautiful book about magic, dreams, and the treasures we seek elsewhere and then find at our doorstep. Let me say that again. The magic, the dreams, and the treasures we seek elsewhere, and then we find them on our doorstep. Malcolm Boyd, author of Are You Running With Me, Jesus, said, The Alchemist is an unabashed delight and inspirational wonder. This fable is a roseate amalgam, I can't say that word, amalgam of spiritual quest, existential puzzle, lovely sensitivity, and deep strength. Kenzubare Oe, winner of the Nobel Prize in Literature, said Paulo Coelho knows the secret of literary alchemy. Gerald G. Jampolsky, MD and co-author of Change Your Mind, Change Your Life, and Love is Letting Go of Fear, wrote a most tender and gentle story. It is a rare gem of a book and will most certainly touch the very core of every heart earnestly seeking its own destiny on the journey of life. Joseph Gerzon says that rarely do I come across a story with the directness and simplicity of Coelho's The Alchemist. It lifts the reader out of time and focuses through a believable, unlikely story of a young dreamer looking for himself. A beautiful story with a pointed message for every reader. Yeduet Ohoronet from Israel said, this is the type of book that makes you understand more about yourself and about life. It has philosophy and is spiced with colors, flavors, and subjects, like a fairy tale. It's a lovely book. Pulitzer Prize winning Paul Zindel says this, a boy named Santiago joins the ranks of Candide and Pinocchio by taking us on a very excellent adventure. Charlotte Zolotow, author of If You Listen, wrote, the mystic quality of the odd adventures of the boy Santiago may bring not only him but others who read this fine book closer to recognizing and reaching their inner destinies. Lynn Andrews wrote, Paulo Coelho gives you the inspiration to follow your own dreams by seeing the world through your own eyes and not someone else's. How many guys say you need some help with that? to follow your own dreams and see the world through your own eyes, not someone else's. Focus from Germany said, nothing is impossible. Such is Coelho's message. As long as you wish it in your with all your heart. No other book bears so much hope. Small wonder its author became a guru among all those in search of the meaning of life. Well, from Germany also said, The Alchemist is a truly poetic book. Yomiuri Shimwan from Japan said, guided through the story, illuminated in a poetic style, are metaphors and deep insights that stir our imagination and transport the reader on a fantastic journey of the soul. Gazeta Wyborska from Poland said, The Alchemist brings to mind The Little Prince by Saint Exupery and The Prophet by Khalil Gibran, as well as biblical parables. Bergin Savine from Norway said, The Alchemist is a beautiful and heartwarming story with an exotic flavor. You may or may not agree with Paulo Coelho's philosophy, but it's nonetheless a tale that comforts our hearts as much as our souls. Milorad Pavic says this, The Alchemist is like a modern-day The Little Prince, a supreme and simple book. And The Economist, whoa, he got something from The Economist, says, among Latin American writers, only Colombia's Gabriel Garcia Marquez is most widely read, and Brazil's Paulo Coelho. So Paulo Coelho, again, this is a internationally acclaimed piece of literature. It's called The Alchemist. This is the book that I'm going to be sharing with you guys on the New Black Wall Street Book Club daily, Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, my goal is to simply share with you things that help me change my life. Share with you things that help me go from employee to entrepreneur. Share with you things that help me take control of my mind so I can take control of my life. Now let's read the foreword and then the prologue, and then we'll meet again tomorrow. Here's the foreword for The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And this book was written back in 1998. 1998, or published back in 1998. When The Alchemist was first published 25 years ago in my native Brazil, no one noticed. A bookseller in the northeast corner of the country told me that only one person purchased a copy the first week of its release. It took another 6 months for the booksellers to unload a second copy, and that was to the same person who bought the first, and who knows how long it took to sell the third. Now, what does it say to us, guys? Sometimes success takes a little time, all right? And he wrote the book, published the book, sold one copy his first week, 2 copies within the first 6 months. But now it's a best-selling book, internationally known or acclaimed. By the end of the year, it was clear to everyone that The Alchemist wasn't working. My original publisher decided to cut me loose and canceled our contract. They wiped their hands of the project and let me take the book with me. I was 41 and desperate. But I never lost faith. Everybody put in comments below, I never lose faith. But I never lost faith in the book or ever wavered in my vision. Why? Because it was me in there, all of me, all of my heart and all of my soul. I was living my own metaphor. A man sets out on a journey, dreaming of a beautiful or magical place in pursuit of some unknown treasure. At the end of his journey, the man realized the treasure was with him the entire time. I was following my personal legend. Everybody put in the console, personal legend. I think this is what many of us need to get to, our own personal legend. I want to share with you why that's so important and valid for me to be able to share with you, because I'm even coming to a greater understanding of this world that we live in and how everybody wants you to be a part of their thing, but not many of us, no, not even that they wanted you to be a part. We typically want to be a part of everybody else's thing, right? Instead of finding our own thing. Now, there's nothing wrong with collaboration, but what I'm saying is, as I'm going along and I'm staying focused on my personal legend, I'm noticing that I'm getting more and more invitations to be a part of somebody else's. And sometimes it's hard to just simply say no, like no. I don't, and no shame. I like what you're doing that thing, keep doing what you're doing, but I know what I've been called to do. And I just believe that if you and I do what we've been called to do, we will live in a much better place here on this earth. because everybody's operating in their area of strength, in their 10 area. They are following their personal legend. Too often, too many of us, we connect ourselves to something that has absolutely nothing to do with what God has placed inside of us and the place that we need to go. But because we have not taken the time to look on the inside and figure out exactly where I need to head, what I need to do, what contribution I need to make, what service I need to render, we end up following someone else's path and not finding what I call personal fulfillment, a personal legend. That's funny too, because we'll say, hey, I'm unique. You know, I've been fearfully and wonderfully made, all this good stuff, but never taking the time to determine, to figure out, to find, to seek and find your own personal legend. And I wanted to share this treasure with the world. As I wrote in the Alchemist, when you want something, the whole universe conspires to help you. I started knocking on the doors of other publishers. One opened, and the publisher on the other side believed in me and my book and agreed to give The Alchemist a second chance. Slowly, through word of mouth, it finally started to sell 3,000, then 6,000, then 10,000, book by book, gradually throughout the year. So Paulo Coelho never gave up on his dream. Again, he wrote the book. First 6 months, sold 2 copies. His publisher said, this is not working. We're going to have to cut your contract. Here's your book back. He could have quit, gave up right then and there. And we wouldn't have this great piece of literature being recommended by word of mouth by so many people that have finally got a chance to pick it up. Let me ask you this. Is it possible that you have quit on your dream because someone told you that it wouldn't work? Because some contract fell through? Or because your partner gave up on y'all business together? Have you given up on your dream? Is it time for you to believe in your dream again? Great question to ask. 8 months later, an American visiting Brazil picked up a copy of The Alchemist in a local bookstore. He wanted to translate the book and help me find a publisher in the United States. HarperCollins agreed to bring it to an American audience, publishing it with great fanfare, ads in the New York Times and influential news magazines, radio and television interviews. But it still took some time to sell. It still took some time. Everybody put in the comments, though, it takes time. It still took some time to sell. And I want you to know that it's still going to take some time. It's going to take some time for everybody to know about your business. It's going to take some time for everybody to know about the book that you wrote. It's going to take some time for everybody to know about the service that you provide. It's going to take some time for everybody to know of this product that you sell. It takes time. See, success isn't something that happens overnight. It's something that happens over time. And too many of us are simply impatient and not willing to travel that 500-mile walk. See, I think he learned something when he took that 500-mile walk. If he could do that, however long that took, he's willing to take the time to see his vision become a reality. But it took some time to sell, slowly finding its audience in the United States by word of mouth. This was, oh my goodness, by word of mouth. Now, I don't know who I'm talking to today, but I really like to speak to Black folk. And so, Black folk in your business, are you creating a business that people speak highly of and you can find referrals and new business by word of mouth? Word of mouth. A lot of my business comes through word of mouth. I put all the ads out. I do all the stuff that's necessary. I invest in marketing and advertising and all that good stuff. But my best customers and my client base has been built through word of mouth. Just as it did in Brazil. Then one day, Bill Clinton was photographed leaving the White House with a copy. Then Madonna raved about the book to Vanity Fair, and people from different walks of life. Look, I want you to pay attention to two key words. One day. One day, right? Bill Clinton was photographed leaving the White House with a copy. Then Madonna raved about the book to Vanity Fair, and people from different walks of life, from Rush Limbaugh to Will Smith to college students and soccer moms, were suddenly talking about it. And guess what? We're talking about it today. Again, I'm sharing with you, simply sharing in this midday mental break, a book that changed my life. I want to share it with you. Hopefully, it'll change your life. Hopefully, it'll help you go from wherever you are right now to where you want to be. The Alchemist became a spontaneous and organic phenomenon. The book hit the New York Times bestseller list, an important milestone for any author, and stayed there for more than 300 weeks. 300 weeks. It has been translated to more than 80 different languages, the most translated book by any living author, and is widely considered one of the 10 best books of the 20th century. How many guys, this is your first time hearing about The Alchemist, the book? A book that's considered one of the 10 best books of the 20th century, and you might just be getting introduced to it today. People continue to ask me if I knew The Alchemist would be such a huge success. I have to call her back. The answer is no. I had no idea. How could I? Then I sat down to write The Alchemist. All I knew was that I wanted to write about my soul. I wanted to write about my quest to find treasure. I wanted to follow the omens because I knew even then that the omens are the language of God. Through The Alchemist, though The Alchemist is now celebrating its 25th anniversary, it is no relic of the past. The book is still very much alive. Like my heart and like my soul, it continues to live every day because my heart and soul are in it. Let me ask you this. What is it that your heart and soul is in? Now, this is something to consider, something to think about. What is it that my heart and soul is in? Now, there are some people, their heart and soul is into football or basketball. There are some people, your heart and soul is into fashion or music. There are some people, your heart and soul is into marijuana or drugs. What is it that your heart and soul is into? Woo! We ain't even got to chapter 1 yet. Woo! And my heart and soul is your heart and soul. I am Santiago, the shepherd boy in search of my treasure, just as you are Santiago, the shepherd boy in search of your own. The story of one person is the story of everyone. And one man's quest is the quest of all humanity, which I believe The Alchemist continues all these years later to resonate with people from different cultures all around the world, touching them emotionally and spiritually equally, without prejudice. I reread The Alchemist regularly, just like I'm doing, and just like we're going to do. And every time I do, I experience the same sensations I felt when I wrote it. And here's what I feel. I feel happiness because it is all of me and all of you simultaneous. I feel happiness too because I know I can never be alone. Wherever I go, people understand me. They understand my soul. This continues to give me hope. When I read about the clashes around the world, the political clashes, the economic clashes, the cultural clashes, I'm reminded that it is within our power to build a bridge to be crossed. Even if my neighbor doesn't understand my religion or understand my politics, he can understand my story. Everybody put in the comments on my story. Let me read this again. Even if my neighbor doesn't understand my religion, doesn't understand my politics, he can understand my story. Here's a question for you. Is it time in 2019 for you to share your story? Now, there's some that do this maybe regularly. It's called a testimony. Plenty of people do that in church. I don't know. Maybe they do. I don't know. I haven't seen a testimony service in a long time. But is it time in 2019 for you to share your story? Matter of fact, let me ask you this. When's the last time you shared your story? Who did you share your story with? Have you shared your story with your children? Isn't it time in 2019 that you share your story? You see, I shared a little story with you in the beginning. I said, hey, this is something I did. I used to take 30-minute walks. I had an hour lunch, 30 minutes to eat, 30 minutes to feed myself. 30 minutes of walking out, whether rain, sleet, or snow, to read and change the way that I think. Change my thoughts, I change my life. I change my thoughts, I change my destination. I change my thoughts, I change my direction. And very quickly, I found myself no longer being employed, but now becoming an employer. If I can do it, little country boy from Decatur, Georgia, anybody can do it. If he can understand my story, then he's never too far from me. It is always within my power to build a bridge. There is always a chance for reconciliation, a chance that one day he and I will sit around the table together and put an end to our history of clashes. And on this day, he will tell me his story and I will tell him mine. That's Paulo Coelho from 2014. And our last bit, it's real quick, it's the prologue, and then tomorrow we'll pick up and get into chapter 1 of The Alchemist. This is the prologue, translated by Clifford E. Landers. The Alchemist picked up a book that someone in the caravan had brought. Leafing through the pages, he found a story about Narcissus. The Alchemist knew the legend of Narcissus, a youth who knelt daily beside a lake to contemplate his own beauty. He was so fascinated by himself that one morning he fell into the lake and drowned. At the spot where he fell, a flower was born, which was called the Narcissus. But this was not how the author of the book ended the story. He said that when Narcissus died, the goddess of the forest appeared and found the lake, which had been fresh water transformed into a lake of salty tears. Why do you weep? The goddess asked. I weep for Narcissus, the lake replied. Ah, it is no surprise that you weep for Narcissus, they said, for though we always pursued him in the forest, you alone could contemplate his beauty close at hand. But was Narcissus beautiful? The lake asked. Who better than you to know that? The goddess said in wonder. After all, it was by your banks that he knelt each day to contemplate himself. The lake was silent for some time. Finally, it said, I weep for Narcissus, but I never noticed that Narcissus was beautiful. I weep because each time he knelt beside my banks, I could see in the depths of his eyes my own beauty reflected. What a lovely story, the alchemist thought. What a lovely story, the alchemist thought. That is the prologue. I know you're like, huh? I don't know. Something for you to rewind, listen to again, and kind of put some thought around it. But we're going to be getting into the Alchemist. Again, alchemy is all about the process of the idea of turning lead into gold. And so this is a journey of a little boy named Santiago, who goes on a journey with other alchemists trying to turn lead into gold. And we're going to be getting into that chapter 1 tomorrow. On Wednesday, I guess that is 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the midday mental break. Hopefully, you'll be with us and you are looking forward to this journey. And again, I'm just here to share some things with you that have helped me to change the way that I think, and I've changed my life and as well. So as well, then the last thing is we actually do have a real book club. So if you like what we're doing here, you're saying, hey man, I'm digging this whole reading, personal development, business development thing, and you want to join the club, it's $10 a month to do that. Make sure you inbox us at whatever form you got here, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook, and let us know that you're interested in joining the club. $10 a month, and you can walk right along with us. For those that are already part of the club, we do have our personal development mastermind session tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I've sent out those invites, and we'll have our business development mastermind session on Thursday at 8 p.m. And for everybody else, you have an opportunity to join us. These are private sessions. What I'm doing now is our public offering. This is my service unto you. Again, I am just compelled to share with you the things that helped me change my life, the things that I read that that helped me go from being employee minded, right? That helped me go from being dependent on someone else to pay my bills to a place where I'm now dependent on myself to be able to bring services to others that can pay my bills. That's the only difference. It's all up here. And most of us simply just do not have an entrepreneurship mindset. We just don't. We've been programmed to go work for someone else for the rest of our life. And so that's just what we're doing here. This is New Black Wall Street Book Club. Hopefully you got something out of today. How many guys are going to be joining with us tomorrow as many times as you can? Of course, this is broadcast, so if you can't make the time, you can always watch the replay. I want you to remember this, that it takes a village, and it starts with us. Let's build as we climb together. We all we got, but guess what? That's enough. Hey, you know what time it is, man. Mr. DJ, hit the music.
New black. It's the New Black Wall Street Book Club with your host, Evan Jefferson. It's time for us to go. Yeah. Now, you ain't got to leave the computer, but we encourage you to get out there and learn and apply all the things you learn at the New Black Wall Street Book Club. Yeah. New Black Wall Street. The New Black Wall Street Book Club.